Alrighty, good morning, good evening, whatever the case may be, and whatever part of your world you're living in. Welcome back to another edition of Hey There. Now, before I get done trying to drop the damn bed, in the studio today we have the lovely and talented C. How you doing, C?
I'm doing well. How is everyone and yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great.
I hope everyone out there is doing well.
Well, we got nobody tuned in just yet, but I'm sure when they do start popping in, they're going to be appreciating to ask that question be asked. Now, we're going to be doing something a little bit different on Saturdays. Hey There shows. Now, here's what's going to be happening. We're going to be doing like a weekend in review, wrap-up type thing. Now, in today's episode, we got to basically focus on UFOs. Now, over the past few days, it has been dominating the media. Everything you turn around is all about UFOs this, UFOs that. All because of that special hearing that took place Friday. Now, what do you think about that, C?
Some of the stuff they said, I guess, was new, but then again, I kind of felt like they still were holding back on a lot of the...
Of course they're holding back.
The only thing that they admitted that I had, now personally, maybe other people have heard, but the only thing that was different for me is that they actually admitted that they have biologics from crashes. And that was kind of like, I had never really heard. I knew and figured they did, but I personally had never heard them say that. I've more heard accounts from people in the world saying they've seen it, but I don't know. It's it's one of those. It's kind of a scary topic a little bit, to think about it.
Okay, stop there for just a moment. Now, why would you think that's scary? Now, before you answer that question, let me just go on and say this real quick. I have done shows in here on the whole possibility of aliens in the universe here on Earth. I've even dressed my avatar up as an alien and gone exploring in here in Second Life, tried to interact with people, and nobody would say a single word to the alien. Now, so that's a very interesting thing that you go and say it's kind of scary. I mean, we have been conditioned by society in years past to think that this is going to be something scary. Now, it could go one of two ways. It could actually go in many different directions. If they actually come out and say they've had personal contact. Now, but it would also, once and for all, in my opinion, give credence to the whole God created the universe. Because you think about it from this point of view. He created man here on this planet. I have said for years, if he created humans on this planet, there is nothing saying that he hasn't created beings of something else on other planets. But yet when you sit there and talk like that, I don't know, these people get all gun-shy, for lack of a better word. I mean, come on, you think about it. So, since you said it's scary, now that's been laid down as a foundation, why is it scary to you?
Well, they mentioned that they had, they did not go into depth, but I remember that they mentioned about how they have had aggressive combat situations with them, and I wonder why. They didn't really specify. I wondered if that was instigated on our part or instigated on their part. it's also, I mean, I'm sitting here, I've been writing and trying to keep notes to make sure I stay on track, but I've been, you think about the people who say that they've been abducted and all this stuff has happened to them, and you hear about people who say that they have seen alien beings in their, in their area from crashes, and I don't know, but those people did not get attacked. I mean, except there is ones, I mean, I've heard some stories. It seems like almost like some might be aggressive and then some might not be, but, and this is going to go maybe, I don't know if I should even say this, but I don't really quite understand where they fit in to everything because, what are they? I mean, I've heard lots of theories. Some people think they're demons. Some people think, they're just extraterrestrial type things. If you are very religious, it can be confusing because in religion, a lot of times they say, people are created in God's image. Well, they don't look anything like us. So,
well, hold on. Before you go any further, when you refer to being created in God's image, that means spiritually, dear, from the inside, not our physical presence. That's from
okay. That helps. Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought it was a physical thing as well. So that answers that. What do you think? Do you think that they're aggressive, or do you think that they are kind?
Okay, first of all, it's all based on point of view.
Absolutely.
If you go by what society is trying to condition us to think, then yeah, they're going to be aggressive. Now, with that being said, look at our own civilization. We got people that are very aggressive in our world.
Think about all the wars.
We have psychopaths. We have mass murderers. And so on and so on. Now, who's to sit there and say that their civilization doesn't have little outbreaks like that as well? See, you can't really say too much about aggression until you're met with aggression. See, we had no idea how somebody from another planet would react to us until we treat them a certain way. Now, with that being said, there are things we need to be more worried about instead of just aggression. Yes, they might have better technology. 100% sure I'm willing to bet that they probably do. But they might, without even trying to, introduce some type of other types of diseases into our atmosphere that our body's not going to be able to handle because we're not used to their climate. That could also be a possibility that you would have to sit there and worry about it a little bit. In the beginning, especially. Because when you look at a species, when it becomes extinct and dies out, why does it usually die out? Well, something changed in the ecosystem that its immune system did not handle. And then they either evolved or they died. Same way that was something else you'd have to worry about if they actually just showed up on our doorstep one day. Now, I was looking at some content before the show because I knew I was going to basically focus on UFOs a little bit for the most part of tonight's show. Now, with that being said, I have found several different videos on YouTube that were talking about aliens already on this earth, but living underwater. Now, when you think about that for a moment, if there's any truth to it, that would explain the whole Bermuda Triangle situation and why certain things just disappear. I mean, have you ever thought, or they could be actually living in another dimension here on Earth, like a cloaking device kind of situation? Because I'm sure that we evolved at one point in time. Excuse me. Put down, like, use this as an example. Your car keys down your normal spot, you can put things down like that on. And then all of a sudden they just disappear, and you can't find them, and you search your house for days, weeks, sometimes even longer than that. You even get to the point to where you go out and you make copies of what you lost, and then all of a sudden you find them again. It's just something else for you all to really think about, quite honestly. I mean, haven't you ever had that happen before?
Yes. Can I have 4 points from things that you've been talking about that I would like to touch on when you have a moment.
Go ahead.
I don't want to interject too much on your show, but when you mention diseases with ancient aliens, do you think that they are responsible for some of the diseases that they say are extinct now? Because I actually saw a show that where they actually were able, how with the ice, with climate change, the ice caps are melting. They actually were able to find diseases that have been extinct for thousands of years, and they put it in a petri dish with a cell, and they actually came back to life and from being frozen and all that time. And so there is a chance that as these ice caps melt, we are going to have a lot of these diseases let back out into the world. So I'm not sure that I think that is alien related, but they could have originally brought them.
I'm not going to go for. I'm not going to. So you're trying to get me to, in a playful way, I'm going to say it like this. You're trying to get me to admit that I believe that aliens walk among us right now. Is that a possibility? Yes. Would I sit there and say, oh, it's 100% definite? I'm not going to go out there and say that much that quickly, because I've seen UFOs myself. But the true definition of a UFO is unidentified flying object. That's got nothing to do with alien life. Now getting back to your topic on diseases.
Right.
As we evolve and our technology gets better and mankind grows into what we're meant to be, and we find cures for this and that, some of these diseases that we've had cures for are going to be laid dormant inside fossilized rocks and so forth and so on. That doesn't necessarily mean that was put there by alien natures. I mean, and we're stupid. Right. We're stupid in this regard, because we keep drilling and uncovering all these fossils. Eventually, you're going to thaw out something that's going to bring back a disease that you thought was long gone.
That was my exact worry when I watched that show. I was like, why is that disease alive in that petri dish? Now let's blow that up. I mean, that's... Now, your underwater theory. I'm not sure. I know that they have the ability to go underwater just from... Now I'm saying I can't say I know.
Hold on a second. So you're subscribing to the theory that they are on this earth?
I'm not sure. it's really hard, but I know that they have the ability. Their ships.
How would
Their
you know?
crafts.
How would you, no, okay. Let me pose this question to you. Let me pose this
From
question to you.
ships. Okay.
How would you know what they have the ability for unless you've had first contact with them yourself? See, that's my whole point of view. It's
I
all
agree with you
speculation.
there.
It's all speculation on the private situation because we haven't really had any real documentation. A lot of stories you hear are going to be somewhat fictional. Now, Hollywood has done a good job in trying to leak out the secrets, in my opinion, in some of these movies they put out because they know if you put it out in a fictional sci-fi, way, the government's not going to shut you down.
Right.
But until the hearings, anyway, came about over Friday, if you were to come out and talk and just present with evidence of this and evidence of that without being in a story format, they would shut you down left and right. You can't deny that, in my opinion. So yeah, the secret has been dripping out for years. Now,
So you believe that they're underwater? Is that what you're telling me?
well, if you go by the video that I watched here recently, the first sighting of an alien was in 1952 when it was found underwater. They think that the
Can you explain
the
that?
lost city of Atlantis is alien in nature.
No, that's interesting.
That's what they.
I've actually watched.
That's originally what they thought, anyway. Going by the video that I watched, anyway.
I would love for you to send me that video sometime. I would be interested in seeing that.
I will.
the
Welcome,
thing
everybody
that
that
I have-
tuned in. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Don't be shy. Comment in the chat. Let us know what you think about the UFOs and the hearings that took place on Friday. They might even still be going on right now, but I don't know. I've been seeing some live feeds, but I think it's just a repeat.
Okay. I got two more things. With the underwater thing, I think I'd like to see that video before I make any more comments because I think I might be missing some information on that.
Okay.
When you talked about the Bermuda Triangle, I think that could actually be a show of its own because that involves so much. I mean, they've done so much studies of the Bermuda Triangle.
Well,
and I can't totally be on board with that. One of the things you said really hit home with me, though. Other dimensions. Because I know that I believe that, spirits are in other dimensions and they come into our dimension. I have seen them. I have that ability and I don't like it, but I see bad things and I see good things and I have ability. I don't like the abilities that I have. I don't really know what I am. I just know I see things and it's almost like sometimes people want me to help them move over and it's weird. And my mother says it's totally demonic and all this and that, but
that's a different topic for another show.
Absolutely, but I think that I can see that I could buy that aliens could also be in other dimensions because if they have the ability to fly these ships and to go underwater with the ships and to just, if you believe in the theory that there are other dimensions, I believe that they can go into them. What do you think, really?
Well, I just got done telling you what I think. You've always got the third dimension, and there's a number of other dimensions we don't even know about, quite honestly. And it does not mean that. How can I put this? All right, It's all theory. Until I actually see something more than what I've seen in my own lifetime, it's all just theory to me and possibilities.
Absolutely.
Like I said just a few minutes ago, now I have seen UFOs, but the true definition of a UFO is just an unidentified flying object. Now, with that being said, since you brought up the whole Bermuda Triangle thing, I find it kind of funny that okay. I find it kind of funny that once they started declassifying all this information bit by bit before the hearings, because they've been declassifying quite a bit throughout the years, just little dribbles here and there. Past couple of years, there's been no activity anywhere around the Bermuda Triangle. No more unexplained disappearances of ships or other technology, planes being led astray or boats. All that's kind of stopped now. Wonder why it stopped. Think about that for a moment.
I wasn't aware it stopped.
Yeah.
And I watch Discovery quite a bit. I would love to know where you get your information, just out of curiosity. I'm not challenging you. It's a curiosity question.
A whole lot of YouTube research.
I'm sorry?
A whole lot of YouTube research.
YouTube. And I do that sometimes too. I really enjoy my Discovery channel, the Discovery Plus app. I look at that. I look at that quite a bit, and I actually recently watched a show on the Bermuda Triangle, and they were doing studies, and I wish I could remember everything, but I know with the ships and stuff, they were leaning more towards that the Bermuda Triangle, like, has the floor of the Bermuda Triangle can cause there to be erratic activity on the top, and that sometimes if a ship is caught, there's rogue waves in the ocean and this and that, and if you're a ship out in a boat or a ship out in the ocean, you're screwed sometimes. There's some that are so big that they can overturn a cruise ship. The ocean is so vast. That's the one thing that we don't really have. We don't really have all the information about the ocean. I know George, what's his name? Is it James Cameron? Whatever. He went the farthest down, supposedly, you can go. And okay. Did he see anything? He didn't see, I don't know. That's all I heard when, talking about that, implosion of the poor people that died recently. It came up that, I think his name George Cameron, I think I'm saying his name wrong, but anyway, it's also confusing sometimes, If you start to think about it too much, for me anyway, it gets my mind all jumbled, and I'm just like, because there's no solid proof of anything. Like, I've seen spirits, I've seen demons, I know I've never seen an alien, so it makes it that.
How would you know you never saw an alien? Let's think for just a moment.
All right.
Let's subscribe to the theory that what they're going to eventually come out and say in years to come, maybe even months to come, or weeks. I think it's going to start coming out in a rapid pace because they're gearing up for something. Our government's really trying, in my opinion, they're trying to distract us from something right now. And what do you got coming up? You got the elections coming up pretty soon. So let's distract everybody from that by throwing some UFO tidbits and footage to get the UFO people talking more and get them all distracted. That could be a possibility too. But when you sit there and say, I've never seen an alien, okay, that might not be entirely true. Because let's just go to the theory of they have been walking among us for a while. Let's go back and let's use the classic TV show. The original came out in the late 80s, early 90s. Then they did a remake in the early 2000s of the show V. Okay, now
I never saw it.
the premise of that show was they were walking among us for years before they actually made themselves known. Now, they were a lizard type alien. And when you peel back parts of their skin, you can see the reptilian skin underneath the human flesh. Now, the whole premise behind that show was, especially in the remake, they were holding positions in authority, like police departments, scientists, all kinds of places, for years before they made themselves known to the human race. And when they made themselves known to the human race, they came down in motherships that hovered over certain countries. The U.S., Germany, all the countries, really. But yet they already had boots on the ground, per se, for years, gathering information and intel. So, if you want to subscribe to the whole sci-fi theory of all that, you might not even know that you've seen one. Now, with that being said, let's be practical for just a moment. Some people are born with certain types of abnormalities or disabilities that may not make them look non-human. I mean, I've seen some people that definitely, and you see them mostly on the media landscape nowadays, especially. They don't look right. They don't look human to a certain degree. Now, based on what your belief system is, some people would sit there and say, well, they're not human, they're certain types of demons or angels or what have you. Or others would sit there and say, well, there's aliens. So yeah, there's possibilities, or it just depends on what you want to believe, basically. And then it's, as time goes on, there's going to be more and more proof. But I do think that the government does want to distract you from a lot of different things. They want to keep you talking about nonsense to distract you from other, what they're doing behind the shadows. Passing this bill or not passing that bill or making this a law, trying to erase this law and overturn this. I mean, our world is in rapid decay. Now, I will send you a couple of links that's going to where I get my information from. And I'm not sitting there saying that I believe it completely. And I'll even put them up on my Discord channel later, and I'll throw them up on the website as well. But there are people saying that they've had encounters with aliens. That the reason why they live under the water, at least the reptilians anyway, live in the water, is because they want to stay out of the way of humans and explore the earth at their leisure under the ground. And this person, like I said, I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just saying what's on what I saw and what they talked about. But this person said that the alien that they had encountered with, said they're worried about us destroying ourselves because they have been here for so long that they call Earth their home as well. And we are slowly destroying it in ways they never even dreamed was possible by humans. Then there was another video where supposedly in the 1930s or around, World War II and a little bit after that, they shot down U.S.'s missiles to stop a nuclear war. And see, this is why I say people come out with about 10% truth, 90% fiction, just to keep you at odds with people. And what are your thoughts?
Okay, you put out a lot of info there. What are my thoughts specifically? No, I'm just trying to make sure I answer the question the best. What are you asking me? Do I believe that we shot down?
No, I mean, do you believe that we've already had contact? I did a video about this a couple of days ago. And was saying, are we getting closer to first contact? If you go back in the archives and it was a couple of days ago, you'll see that video as well. It was not, I wasn't in World when I did it, so it's just a still shot. But yeah, it was all about, are we getting it? It was when the hearings were taking place live. I did a video, asking if we were any close to having first contact. Now, you got people saying they have been abducted. There have been stories like that all through decades, years and years and years. And the whole Roswell thing, come on, think about it. And now they come out during this hearing and admit to having dead bodies from crashed UFO. Think about this. They're finally starting to let, like I said, 10% of the truth out. And still giving you 90% fiction to keep you on your toes.
Okay. I'm listening. I'm hearing you. I think we've already made first contact. And the government knows. I think they gave us a tiny bit of information. I think there's a lot more that we don't know. And, he was talking, I think we've already had contact in violent ways and in just observational ways, but I have never heard that we've had like a peaceful meeting,
Of course it's not going to. The government's not going to sit there and tell you if it's going to be peaceful or not. Because if they tell you that, then there goes their leverage.
And I don't understand, though. What's the point of hiding it?
There goes their ability to rule you by fear. If they can convince you that they're going to be peaceful, the government don't want you believing that, because then they can't rule you by fear. Same way with every time there's some type of outbreak with an illness, like the coronavirus, they rule you through that fear. Well, if you don't get vaccinated, you're going to die. Blah blah blah. Here, let us shoot you up. They don't know what hunger. Okay, but that's a different subject altogether, but that's just another prime example of trying to rule you through fear. And that's exactly what they would do if they're having contact with aliens. Now, first contact, in my opinion, documented anyway, is going to come from them meeting with the world leaders. Second contact will be people, the everyday Joe Schmo, having contact with them in their backyard or something. In my opinion, that would be second contact. As far as being documented. Do I really think that contact has been made? I can't really say one way or another. I do find it fascinating that, well, after the hearings from yesterday, if they're telling us the truth, then yeah, that's proof. First contact has been made. If they're holding crashed ships and now admitting to having alien cadavers in undisclosed locations, come on. But who do you want? See, from a security standpoint, I can understand keeping it from the American public to a point, because you don't want to ignite mass hysteria, because then you're going to have everybody looking up in their sky and getting out their shotguns and shooting at first thing that looks kind of odd to them. Good, but on the flip side, they want to give you enough information just to keep you from going completely ape shit. But they don't want you sitting there thinking they can be friendly. I think I subscribe to this theory. You know, if God created us, there's nothing saying God didn't create life elsewhere. Okay. Secondly, when you're interacting in your own civilization, you're gonna have good and bad. They just sit there and say that aliens are not good and bad too in their own regard. You might get some bad apples come in. You might get some good apples come in too. It's a crapshoot, quite honestly. It's a game of chance to a certain degree until we know more. But why would, ask yourself this question. After all these years, Roswell, all Area 51 and all that, or 81 or whatever it is, 51, yeah, it's 51. Why come out with all this stuff now? Why start admitting now, 50 years later, that what people were already saying was going on is actually been real? What is their driving force behind it? What are they trying to achieve? Now think about that. Thoughts?
I'm not sure. That's... Keep on with your...
A little bit too deep for you? A little bit too deep for you? Too close to realism there? Not enough fantasy?
It's all pretty complicated. I mean, there's so many ways that you can go.
It's not complicated. It's a question of what you believe and what you can prove. There's no when you're just having a basic discussion about this, what's so complicated about it? Either you believe that there's been contact, you believe what this, that, or the other. And it comes down to what you believe. And there's no complications about that. I'm a firm believer in sticking by what you believe. And not letting other people sway you too much. Until you have solid rock evidence to make you change your mind. I wonder why, in my opinion, I wonder why we're being told this now. What's the reasoning? What's the rationale? Why are they starting to admit to certain things that there's always been speculation of? What are they trying to hide? Or what are they trying to plan? What are they trying to get the American people ready for?
Perhaps they have had more contact than, like I was talking about earlier, than they're saying, and they feel like it's time. I mean, too many people have come forward saying they've seen it. And I mean, some people believe about abduction, some people don't, but I do. I think it's possible. I mean, people have been under hypnosis and recall everything about it, and it's, I mean,
well, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with that. You gotta be careful with that from this standpoint. I didn't mean to interrupt, but when you start bringing up hypnosis, you can get false memories planted into your mind that way. If you believe that you can be hypnotized, you can have false memories planted during that state. Plain and simple. So you gotta be careful when you're talking about that. I mean, that is a possibility. Some people can be hypnotized, others can't. Some people say that if you can be hypnotized, then you have a weak will. I don't know about all that, but that's what I've heard. But that's neither here nor there when you're getting back to the UFO hearings. We're kind of getting a little bit off topic just a tad, but it's been a very interesting topic, and I kind of thought that the show would be pretty well dominated by the talk of UFOs, quite honestly, and that's the reason why I did so much prep work. There are all kinds of information that's coming out now, and there have been videos that are dated back for 10, 11 years. You know, even and as far as YouTube is concerned, man, you can do a very deep dive on that on YouTube when it comes to UFOs. And like I said, you got to take what you see and what you hear with a grain of salt, because you're not always going to get 100% the truth. A lot of people want to fake stuff for content.
Well, I don't think. I mean, yeah, people do fake. I believe that. I mean, you can kind of tell the difference, though. I mean, you can. Unless someone's just a good actor, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Okay. Since you brought it up, since you're a good actor, the guy that's leading the whole whistleblowing thing for this committee that had started the hearings yesterday. Okay, they're already putting out YouTube videos on him, trying to get people's opinions. So let me throw this out there to you. Do you think he's lying, or do you think he's telling the truth?
The government official?
There were 3 people that came to Congress for this hearing, but the main one that got this started is the one they're focusing on these little videos. They're wondering, they're putting it out there to the public, do you think he's lying or they're lying? But they're mostly just focused on the main dude. They want to get all this ball started rolling. He started trying to get all this declassified all the way back since 2020 when he left the government. He supposedly went through all the right channels to get proper clearance to talk about the things that he's been talking about, and now the government has taken notice, and that's the reason why they're having this hearing. Is because these 3 people started coming forward with their stories, basically. And now they're trying to. Now, the question is, are they lying? And this is just the government trying to get them under control? Or do you believe what they're saying is the truth?
I believe them. I mean, how can it not? I think anything can be true. I mean, how can we say it's not true? I mean, and plus there's actual video. I mean, I know people are probably tired of hearing about the TikTok stuff, because I even sometimes get irritated. Oh gosh, another TikTok video. But, I mean, how do you explain that? And one other thing is that, way back, I don't know. I mean, let's just go back. I don't know when the first drawing was ever made of a UFO, but why does it look so much like some of the, like the UFO in cartoons that are from the 40s and 50s? Why are they shaped with that top down and the circle around the bottom? That movie, Close Encounters, remember that one at the end where I have seen videos on YouTube of, military seeing these things. So, are they other aircraft that we have? Or are they, in fact, the real deal? Because I think it's just been, there's a long time for things to, do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I get what you're trying to say. Well, if you want me to elaborate on what you're trying to say, I'm more than willing to. To answer your question, let me say this. There are documentations going back all the way back to World War II that they have now declassified, that you can go read incidents of this and that and the other thing of encounters up in the air anyway with our jets and other ships that they could not identify. Okay, it's been going on since like I said, World War II. I mean, and now they're allowing people to talk about it. They're declassifying so much that, in my opinion, they're trying to, like I said, they're trying to give you 10% truth, 90% fiction. Now, if that be true, that would explain everything what you just asked about. Why UFOs look like this. Now, they just got done saying, in these hearings, they've been kind of like working on technology that they have recovered after all these ships have crashed. You don't think that our government's wouldn't go out and hire the best scientists and best engineers to try to figure out how these creatures made this technology and see what we can make from it? Oh, hell yeah. Reverse engineering happens all the time. You try to reverse engineer everything and you try to make it better. Make it your own by adding in a little technology. You do that with computer programming. You do that with, on and on. Video games. Always copying each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our society, you see, is so strange right now that they have to get the focus off of them and put it on something else. So these hearings, I kind of wonder if there's going to be a follow-up after all this. And who's going to get their first book deal out of the three? That's something else you guys sit there and watch for. Who gets the first book deal out of the three people that are talking during these hearings? And whether they're going to be allowed to put in writing anyway. I mean, you can look up all these documents and read page after page after page.
Mm-hmm.
But how much of it is real and how much is fiction? Because the government's not going to sit there and let them put everything out there. You'd be shooting yourself in the foot if you did. That's just my opinion. For those of y'all that might be tuning in at a later date, if you don't catch the live stream and you want to comment, feel free to comment below and I'll do my best to react to you as quickly as possible later on throughout the night and throughout the week. If you all tune in while it's live, don't be shy. Say something in chat and let us know what you really think of the UFO hearings or hearing in your opinion. We welcome all opinions here. Now, see, have you really taken the time to really dive into the whole UFO theory throughout the years, or is this just now coming to your attention because of the hearing?
Just now. It's not something that I think about a whole lot. I mean,
see,
sure,
that's my point right there. You just proved my point. It wasn't in your mind until you saw the hearing.
Yeah, that's true.
They go back to trying to get you distracted from something else, which could be a very good possibility. But go on, continue.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's something that you know, as a kid, I saw it in the cartoons, and as I got older, you know, you hear the stories and stuff, but it's not something that I really majorly thought about. It's difficult, you know. I mean, it's difficult to know what to say exactly.
Speak your mind. Speak your mind. This is the weekend wrap up. Give us your thoughts. And see, like I said, going into today's show, we're going to be doing this segment every Saturday to wrap up what happened not only over the weekend, but throughout the week. Now, the reason why we're focusing right now on the whole UFO thing is because that's what's been dominating social media right now ever since Friday. The UFO hearing. So I want to give my community a chance to share their thoughts. I think a lot of people are very terrified, especially when you're talking about people in the second life. I mean, think about this. You know, I talked about how in the beginning of the show that I walked around in world as an alien and did a little 3-video clip exploring second life as an alien and trying to get some type of interaction with people. And they all shied away from that. Now, why would you shy away from that? Especially in a fantasy world like Second Life. But yet, you can walk around as a demon in a demon avatar and you get all kinds of interaction. Does that tell you where the mindset is, even in Second Life? And how far gone we've kind of slipped off the path? But that's a different topic for another day.
I mean, my basic thing is that I think that I don't know if they're walking among us exactly, but, I mean, I don't want to bring up a whole other topic at the end of, you know, when you're trying to wrap up things, but, you know, I mean, like, if you look at the hieroglyphs from people thousands of years ago, they show things of alien. How did they know about it? You know, obviously if they drew it, they saw it too. So I do think they're out there. I don't know. I really can't say that I believe they're walking among us, because if I was an alien and I had the ability to fly all over the many galaxies, I'm not going to plant myself on this crappy planet. I mean,
you could also be saying that because We're human. We know what our society is capable of. I mean, but then again, from just kind of piggybacking on what you're saying and expanding on it a little bit, if you are a civilization that's more intelligent and more technically advanced than we are, I don't know if I would let myself be exposed or not. I might just sit back and watch the human race to them blow each other up, wipe themselves off the earth. I sit there and wonder, I sit there and think, what a bunch of dumb beings we are. Because I'm trying to look at it from a higher train of thought and a deeper intelligent mindset. We are dumb. Mankind is dumb. A person is intelligent, but people want the mass, and I've said this before, and I'll always say this until I'm proven otherwise. We are dumb. We do foolish and dumb things. Now, if I am somebody who's got a higher understanding of life and what the true meaning of life is, and this and that and the other, I'll just sit back and watch. I'll go get my popcorn, pop it on up, prop my feet up on my desk, and just go through the channels on Earth. See what kind of stupidity I'm finding today. I mean, we have such a fascination with reality TV. We might be their version of reality TV.
Oh my goodness, that's a thought, huh? I don't know. That would be one messed up reality show. So, maybe we are their entertainment. That's a funny thought. But I don't know. I don't think they think exactly like us either. I mean,
of course, you're not going to think exactly like us. Do you not look? You got to look at it from this point of view. If you've got the technology, you had to have, in order for you to travel from as far out as they might be coming from. We don't have that kind of technology because we don't have that kind of understanding. Our brains right now at this stage of life, we cannot understand that kind of technology. So of course they're not going to think like us. They're out thinking us already. If they got the ability to travel millions and millions of light years to other galaxies, then they're already smarter than we are.
This is a little bit off. It's not quite off topic, but I know that you have been studying as the Bible as well. Is there mention of any alien type life in the Bible?
Oh, here we go.
I'm sorry. Did I go too deep on that?
Not in the sense of what you're referring to. When you think of, well, see, in the Bible it refers to aliens being not of God, not knowing God, not knowing Christ. They are considered an alien entity because they're foreign to Jesus. When you want to bring the Bible into that, that's the references to aliens in the Bible. Anyway. They are just basically people who do not know Jesus. So in the sense of what you're asking about, no, it doesn't refer to it in the Bible the way you're asking, no. It's a different meaning altogether.
It is.
It's not speaking of creatures from other planets. It's speaking of people not knowing Jesus' word. So they're foreign, they're alien in that regard.
But there's nothing in the Bible to talk about
beings from other planets.
Like I wonder.
Other than angels coming down from the heavens.
Right.
The God sent down here to pass along messages and stuff. No. there's no reference to, at least not that I've seen anyway, of alien creatures from other planets coming to their no.
I would imagine back then if they did see a UFO, because they would probably think it something from God, because of just from the fact that they didn't know flight back then, except for birds. So that would, if I was a person back then, I would think, this is something from God. I need to, kneel down. But it's
or the work of the enemy. They might have interpreted that as well.
That's
the work
true.
of the enemy as well. So,
what do you think about in terms of ancient? I'm not jumping around a bit, but I'm looking at all the stuff we talked about with ancient people and the way that they built such amazing architecture and statues.
You left that same comment on my previous video, and I replied to that.
Did you? I didn't see I'm curious about it, only because, there is simple machines. Yes, they could have used, ways to roll. They could have used levers.
There was no technology back then. Not like we had now.
So, and they had those hieroglyphs. So do you think it is possible that aliens actually interacted with humans in the past? And it could have went wrong at some point, and maybe that's why they don't interact with us.
Okay, let's twist this around now. I know what my comment was. My reply to your comment on the previous video. But after giving that thought, after replying to you on my past video, who's to say that they weren't influenced by God?
They could. They might. Now,
God can do anything. God can influence you. God can influence you in any way. He can give you the ability to do anything He wants you to do. So why does it always have to be an alien entity that did this and did that for you? Why didn't you think God blessed Newton with great technology, with great intellect? He had the biggest brain known to man. He was the smartest man alive. So who is to say that God did not bless those individuals at that time period to build what they built? Because think about this. We have not been able to duplicate that. Why do people, and this goes the complete opposite of how I responded to your comment in the previous video, but it's because I have more time to give it thought. But people are so quick to write off God right now that they don't want to sit there and even open their minds up to the possibility that He gave them the ability to do this, gave Him the ability to do that, to guide people. He guided people out of the wilderness. He delivered them through all kinds of things out their lives back in biblical times. So, why is everybody so quick to write that off onto, it must have been alien technology? No. Well, it was God. It was God's blessings upon those people. And they did what He asked them to do.
What about situations like Easter Island? That isn't necessarily religious, is it? Or are those religious statues?
Okay. Now, see, there's a difference between religion and having a relationship with God. Those are two different things. Religion is considered all other you have multiple types of different religions, but you only have one relationship with God. The Christian belief is having a relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you do that? You do that by studying the Bible, learning from His teachings, and getting to know Him. Now, Buddhism is another form of religion. They believe something completely different. You know, see, there's, like I said, it's not. Somebody asked me yesterday when I was in World, when did I get so religious? And I had to point out to them, it's not about being religious. It's just about having a relationship with God. Because having a relationship with God and Jesus and knowing He's my Lord and Savior, to me, is not religious. It's just having a relationship with the Almighty Creator and His Son.
Right.
Everybody wants to boil down to, see, when people find that they're losing an argument or they're wanting to change the narrative, they either fall back to the aliens must have done this, or they want to fall back to, what about the different religions? Blah, 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 blah. I'm just trying to put it out there like this. You know, who's to say God did not just bless them with that the ability to do that? Plain and simple. And that's just another example of how far lost we are as a world in our belief.
Okay.
And yes, that's kind of a different tangent. Then that could be a different topic for another show, but but you know, you want me to answer your question, I pretty well did. You know, I know it's not the exact way I answered your comment from the previous video, but I had more time to think about it. And
right.
It's just, we are just so quickly to write everything off as aliens doing this and aliens doing that, when it could be, you know, as simple as God bestowed blessings upon those groups of people to do this, that, and the other because He asked them to. You and I weren't born back then. That might be exactly how it played out. And you never know.
Right.
But if you go by what the Bible teaches you, that is definitely how it probably did work out. I mean, it just depends on what you want to believe. To me, when great things happen and people do extraordinary things, they do it because God blessed them and gave them the ability to do it. You cannot, in my opinion, my belief system teaches me, and this is all in the Bible, that you cannot reach the heights of certain things without having Him in your life, involved in everything you do. Yeah, you can be successful in this world. You can go on and do this, that, and the other, but you're not going to have the same success when you don't have Him in your life. Now, we are really getting off topic, but it kind of spun right to that direction. So, you know, we're rolling up on an hour here, a little bit over an hour. So, we're going to sit there and bring this live stream to an end. I want to thank each and every one that popped in while you all have been live. And for those of you all that might be tune in at a later date. Thank you for your time and taking the time to view all of the content here in Jatch World. It is greatly appreciated. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit that like button, and tell all your friends about Jatch World. And in closing, don't be shy, like the scrolling message says. Don't be shy. Comment below later on about what you think of the UFO hearings. And we will see you in a later date. In closing, do you want to say anything, T?
No, I'm good. I've enjoyed listening, and I've actually learned from this. And because you were much more prepared than I was just an invited guest. So, I mean, I kind of interjected at times, but this is all very interesting, and I made some notes that I'm going to actually look into myself. And I hope that other people will gain some knowledge from this in the same way and maybe find some curiosity. Because it's always fun to learn new things and to explore other theories. But who knows, you might have an alien living right next door. I think I have one next to me right now on the couch. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you're such a smart aleck. See you later. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and God bless. See you all in the next.
God bless.